Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Walaikum assalam.
Okay, we'll wait just a bit so that more people can join, and then we'll start. Okay. So we're gonna do clauses and connectives. So open page 126 and 127, because those are the pages we're gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna start. So I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys all see my screen? Please unmute and someone answer.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so clauses are a group of words that are joined together and contain a noun, subject, and a verb, so make a complete sense on their own. Sometimes they complement each other and we have to add connectors. So clauses can be used on their own because they make a complete sense. They can also be called simple sentences. So we can use them on our own, but sometimes we have to correlate them. So we have to add connectors so that they make sense in connection. For example, Emily eats an apple. This is a clause. It has a noun, Emily, verb, eats. The subject is also Emily, and object is apple. Uh, this is
Teacher,
yes,
what we have to take out?
page 126 and 127 of your textbook.
Page.
126 and 127. Okay, so what is a subject and object of a sentence? A subject is a person who is doing the verb or action in a sentence, like the princess sung a lullaby. In this sentence, the princess is the subject because it is her who is doing the action of singing. An object is a thing on which the action is being done. Using this same example, the object in the sentence is lullaby. She is singing the lullaby. To identify the object in a sentence, ask yourself questions like, what is she singing and to whom is she singing? Like in this sentence, the princess sung a lullaby. So we know it is her who sang. And what did she sing? A lullaby. So the princess is the subject, the action is singing, and the object is lullaby. So clauses, now we'll come back to clauses. Clauses make full sense on their own usually, but when are preceded by an adverb of place, time, or action, need to be joined to another clause to make full sense. Like, um, in this slide, like keep looking at the top of my screen. Although the car drove slowly, we still reached the party in time. Although is an adverb, and so it is beginning the clause. Although is coming in the start of this clause, or this, can you see the highlighted clause? Although is the beginning word for the clause, so it is starting with an adverb. That's why we're not going to use connectors to connect it with the second clause. We're going to use a comma, so we cannot join them with connectors. Instead, we have to use commas. So again, look at the sentence. Although the car drove slowly, we still reached the party in time. The sentence highlighted in yellow has a noun, car, verb, drove, but contains an adverb which is in the beginning of the clause, although. This is why we add a comma after the first clause and not a connector, because it would not make sense. If I say, although the car drove slowly and we still reached the party in time, it would be long and unnecessary. So, and it doesn't even sound right. So that's why we use a comma instead, just a brief pause. Adverbs. Now, what are adverbs? I keep saying although is adverb. Adverbs are words that describe the verb in further detail. Like you could say, I ran, but this is insufficient as to how you ran. It is used to make your writing more engaging. So, using an adverb, you could now say, I ran quickly. The word quickly is the adverb because it has the letters ly. Any word which ends in ly is an adverb. Any word which supplements the meaning of the verb is an adverb. Joining clauses with connectors. How tiring would it be if we had to repeat the name of the subject for each sentence? Like if my mom called me, she would have to say, Sundus, bring the knife, Sundus, bring the cake. Instead, with the help of connectors, she can say, Sundus, bring the knife and the cake. This makes it easy to speak and takes less time. Remember, when we talk about connectors, we will omit the subject in the second clause. Take a look at this example. John went to school. John rode his bike in the afternoon. Using connectors without omitting the subject would sound like John went to school and John rode his bike in the afternoon. This sentence sounds repetitive and monotonous. To avoid boredom, we could say John went to school and then rode his bike in the afternoon. So this will convey your message and will be very concise. Clauses and sentences. A simple complete clause is also a sentence. A simple complete clause can make sense on its own. A sentence always makes sense on its own. So that's why we can say they are the same things. A complete clause is also a simple sentence. So two clauses joined together using a connector is called a compound sentence. Like you remember compound words. Compound words were like two complete words joined together to give a joined meaning. Compound sentence is like the same thing, but instead to join two complete sentences, we're using connectors so that they can give a joined meaning. Two clauses which don't make sense on their own join together without using connectors and only using adverb and comma is a complex sentence, okay? So some important points to remember is a clause that doesn't make sense on its own is called an incomplete clause or subordinate clause. An easier term is incomplete clause. A clause that does make sense on its own is called a complete clause. A subordinate clause always contains an adverb like unfortunately, consequently, similarly, and always needs another complete clause to support it as it makes no sense on its own. It is separated from the rest of the sentence using a comma. Like a weak person always needs another stronger person's support to walk or convey his message. Same way, subordinate clauses are weaker in the fact that they do not have a complete meaning. And they contain adverbs. I told you the words that end with ly are adverbs. So unfortunately, consequently, similarly are all adverbs. And whenever you see this in a clause, remember that clause is subordinate clause or incomplete clause. And that would be joined to another clause, which would be a complete clause, which would help the incomplete clause to convey its message. And we will not join them using connectors, we will use commas instead. Commas are not only used to join clauses, commas are also used for other reasons, like to separate a list of items from one another. Like if I say, I bought eggs, milk, bread, and lemonade from the grocery store. Eggs, milk, bread, lemonade. This is all a list of items I bought from the grocery store. So I will separate all the items by commas. Like between eggs and milk, there's a comma. Between milk and bread, there's a comma. And before the last item, there is and. To identify the extra information about the subject of a sentence is another way we can use commas. Uh, like this is a sentence. Mr. Brookfield, the manager of the store, gave me a reasonable discount. I told you that subject is a person who is doing the verb or action in a sentence. A subject is a person who is doing the verb or action in a sentence. So, so in this sentence, Mr. Brookfield is the subject. He is the person we're talking about. He is going to do the action in this sentence. So we have extra information about him. Mr. Brookfield, the manager of the store. Even if we didn't know that he was a manager of the store, this sentence would still be complete. That's why we use commas to separate this phrase, the manager of the store. Uh, so we use it to separate this. I'm so sorry for the break. Okay, so just a second. Okay. I'm so sorry. Just a second. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we were here. Mr. Brookfield, the manager of the store, gave me a reasonable discount. So I separated the phrase, the manager of the store, with commas because that was extra information. Okay, that was extra information, and we don't really need it to give a complete sense to this sentence. Commas are also used to give a break in the sentence where we could naturally pause while reading. While I'm reading a book, in a sentence, there's always a comma. So whenever you see a comma, you give a brief pause. This is so that, the listener can have a better understanding of what the sentence is trying to convey. And also, the listener understands what you're trying to say. Connectors use a variety of transition words and connectors in your use a variety of transition words and connectors in your writing. If you don't, you can become or sound boring and monotonous. Transition words and connectors are the same thing, so don't get confused. Now there are different types of connectors we can use. Addition, to add something, addition of something, showing contrast, showing a result, to show time order, and for comparison. So addition. These type of connectors are used to add more incidents or more information to the story, like Emily offered to drive me to the airport. Moreover, she's going to feed my cat while I'm gone. So moreover is the connector. Moreover is the connector, and it shows that Emily offered to drive me to the airport. This is one clause, one sentence, but I want to add to it. I want to say that she offered to drive me to the airport and she's also going to feed my cat while I'm gone. So a better way, instead of using and, which is very common, a better way is using moreover. The specific addition connector is moreover and furthermore. So Emily offered to drive me to the airport. Moreover, she's going to feed my cat while I'm gone. So another example of addition connector is furthermore. Contrast, to show, these connectors show the contrasting differences between two situations. Like in this sentence, I forgot my suitcase. However, I still wanted to travel. So in this, I'm trying to say I forgot my suitcase, but I still want to do something. So a better way, without using but, which is a very common uh, connector, I will use however. I forgot my suitcase. However, I still want to travel. I know that I can't travel without my suitcase, right? But I use however to show that even though I have forgotten my suitcase, I still do want to travel. So more examples of contrasting connectors are in contrast, on the other hand, and there are many more. These connectors show the outcome of a specific situation. I forgot my passport, therefore I couldn't travel. So I'm trying to state a fact, like I forgot my passport, and like you'll be like, why are you telling me this? So I'm trying to say that I forgot my passport, and that is why I couldn't travel. But instead of saying that is why, I am writing therefore. I forgot my passport, then using a resulting connector. Therefore, I couldn't travel. So more examples of resulting connectors are as a result, consequently, and thus. To show time order. These connectors are used to show the sequence of events as they unfold. I realized I had forgotten my suitcase. Afterward, I discovered I had forgotten my passport too. So, in this sentence, I first realized I have forgotten my suitcase. And then I want to tell the person, look, if I say I realized I had forgotten my suitcase and passport, you would, the the understanding you would get out of the sentence would be the meaning you would get out of the sentence would be that I forgot my suitcase and passport. You wouldn't know which one I forgot first. So in this, I am saying I realized I'd forgotten my suitcase. Afterwards, I discovered I had forgotten my passport too. So this tells the order in which I forgot my things. Like I first forgot my suitcase, and then I realized I'd forgotten my passport too. More examples of time order connectors are firstly, secondly, and subsequently. The last one is comparison. These connectors are used to compare two scenarios. I forgot my passport. Similarly, I left my driving license at home last week. So I am comparing both the things. I'm saying I'm bringing into spotlight how those two situations are the same. So I forgot my passport, and similarly, like in the same way, I also left my driving license at home last week. More examples of comparison connectors are unlike and in contrast. So I'm just gonna come back to you and take questions. Does anyone have a question?
No. No. Yeah, I have a.
You want me to repeat anything?
No.
Okay, so should we move on? Should we move on to the exercise?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you
So
which
it's
page?
page 126 and 127 of the workbook.
Teacher, 126 and 127.
What? Sorry?
I'm saying 126 and 127. Are you talking about? We will open 127 page in which exercise we do.
They're talking about clauses and connectives.
Teacher,
Yeah?
are we gonna do work in the booklet?
I don't have the booklet, so I'm just focusing on the textbook and the workbook for now, okay?
Okay. No, this one. This one.
Okay, so I am going to mute all of you guys, and let's move on to the exercises in the textbook, page 126 and 127. It is unit 8, our world, okay? And it is clauses and connectives. So I'm going to share my video. Just give me a second. Okay, so this exercise is what we're gonna do, okay? Page 126. Husnan, am I audible? Ahmad, you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Teacher,
Fawad? Yeah?
last time you said we were doing workbook page 16. You said next in the next class we would complete that page.
I said that, but a lot of people said that they had already done it with the teacher, so that's why I thought that we would move on. Okay? Fawad, you have a question?
Teacher, can you explain this one more time because I just joined?
The whole thing?
No, just some other part.
Actually, I'm recording this, so you can listen to the recording later on.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I'm on page 126, exercise A. Copy these compound sentences, adding a connective to fill the gaps. Meerkats love to eat insects. Dash, they also eat lizards and snakes. So, who wants to answer this? Harim and Has. I am unmuting you. Yes. A, question 1. Meerkats love to eat insects. Dash, they also eat lizards and snakes. How will you fill in the blank?
And
Yes, good job. Because over here they are just they are okay. Yeah, it can be and, okay, because you could take it as an addition of information, but in this context we are gonna write but, because they first state one thing in the first clause: meerkats love to eat insects, and then in contrast to that, but they also eat lizards and snakes. So meerkats love to eat insects, but they also eat lizards and snakes. Did you get that, Harim?
yes.
Okay, good job though. The second question: it was very hot. Dash, the meerkats had a nap. Who is going to answer this? Ahmad Ibrar? Yes.
It was the meerkats had a nap.
Say that again.
It was very hot, so the meerkats had a nap.
Good job. Yes. This. So the meerkats had a nap. It was very hot, and we want to say it was due to this. So as a result, the meerkats had a nap. So we're gonna use so. Good job. That's correct. Okay, so we're gonna move on to exercise B of page 126. Join the sentences together with a connective to make a compound sentence. The first question, I'm going to read it out, then I'm going to choose one of the people who have raised their hands to answer, okay? Michael has a two-way radio. He uses it to talk to his friends. Okay, Saleha?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, so you want to answer B, question 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Michael has a two-way radio, so he uses it to talk to his friends.
Good job. Yes, we state a fact, and as a result, like, he has a two-way radio, and so he uses it to talk to his friends.
Teacher, can I tell the next one again?
Give other people a chance to, okay? I know you know it. So, okay. B question 2. Michael lives a long way from school. He does his schoolwork at home. Fawad?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. You want to answer B part 2?
He does it at his home.
No, the compound sentence. Manal, you want to answer? Make a compound sentence of B question 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Michael lives a long way from school, so he does his schoolwork at home.
Okay, good job. Yeah. So we say Michael lives a long way from school, and so as a result, he does his schoolwork at home. Now exercise C. Complete the following compound sentences by adding a second clause of your own. So C, part 1. Michael loves to play games on his computer and who wants to answer? Hareem,
Yes.
so you want to answer?
Michael loves to play games on his computer and board games.
And
Board games.
I cannot hear you. Michael loves to play games on his computer and
And Michael loves to play games on his computer and board games.
okay, good job. Anyone else? Because there's no wrong or right answer to this, okay? This is using your own imagination. So, Saliha,
Yes.
you want to give this a try?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So,
Michael loves to play games on his computer and reading Outback magazines.
good job. That was a very nice sentence. Okay. Um, Fawad, you want to give it this a try? First question. Fawad, you want to give it a try? Okay. Let's move on then. Okay, so just give me a second. Now we'll move on to page 127, clauses and commas. So I'm just gonna read what your book says. Some sentences include clauses that would not make sense on their own. These are called complex sentences. I discussed this earlier, right? So example, although I left early, I was late for school. Although is an adverb. So this clause is starting with an adverb. That's why we cannot use a connector, okay? Like we did over here. Meerkats sleep in burrows and this is a connector. Over here, we cannot use a connector. Instead, they used a comma. Although I left early, comma, I was late for school. The clause, although I left early, does not make sense on its own. It is called a subordinate clause or incomplete clause. When a subordinate clause comes first in a sentence, it is followed by a comma to separate it from the rest of the sentence. Even when it comes second in the sentence, like I was late for school, like if I say, okay, just give me a second. late for school, therefore my teacher can everybody hear me? Wait, I'm gonna unmute all of you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Teacher, I have to tell you, in thinking book, in page 360, the page 360, exercise B, sentences one, it was and because our teacher said to us write and.
Can you write that
Teacher.
in the chat box because I couldn't hear you. Wait a second. Let me mute all of them. Okay. Fatma, you had to say something, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah.
What was saying in page 126, exercise B, our teacher told us the Michael has two-way audio and he uses it to talk to his other. Our teacher said to write this in copies and write and.
Yeah, so that's correct too. Okay, what I told you guys, it was Michael has a two-way radio and so he uses it to talk to his friends. I use two connectors, which is also allowed in English language. Okay, so I use and also and so also. If you want to use only and, that is also correct and will also give you a complete sentence, a complete meaning to the sentence. And if you only use so, that is also correct.
Okay,
Did you
teacher,
understand?
I think about this. I know. When I got home school, so I was hungry.
Repeat that sentence.
And when I got home from school, so I was hungry.
Yes, that's also correct. You can say, after a long day at school, I was hungry. That's what you mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the sentence that you have just said would be better without a connector, but it's perfect grammatically, it's perfectly fine. Okay? Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. So I was here. I was late for school. I was late for school, therefore my teacher scolded me. You see, this is also an adverb. I know there's no ly, but this is an exception to the rule. I was late for school, therefore my teacher scolded me. In this second clause is starting with a adverb. That's why I placed a comma here. Before the second clause, I placed a comma. So over here, your book says a subordinate clause, when it comes first in a sentence, it is followed by a comma. But when it comes later in the latter half of the sentence, it is preceded by a comma. Okay, so I hope you understand. Now, exercise A, copy these sentences and underline. Okay, just give me a second. Someone asked a question. Hareem? Yes, you had to say something?
Yeah, in the last sentence you said there were at school. I was at school. My teacher tore. There was a word tore, and I don't know what does that mean.
Oh, I said after a long day at school, I was very tired. I think you heard after as tore, but I meant after.
No, the one you said. The teacher scolded me.
Oh, okay. Uh, let me. Are you talking about this word?
Yes.
Okay, I was late for school, Therefore, my teacher scolded me. Therefore has the same meaning as a result. Okay. So therefore, like I mean, I'll write the sentence again. I was late for school. Therefore, my teacher scolded me. This is the word you're talking about, right? So I was late
Yeah.
for school, therefore my teacher scolded me. Because I was late for school, my teacher scolded me. This is another way of writing it. Therefore means as a result. Okay? I'll say I was late for school, and this is the reason why my teacher scolded me. So therefore, like this is why. This is the reason why. Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay. Um. So let's move on. Let's go back to this. Okay. Exercise A. Copy these sentences and underline the subordinate clause. When I got home from school, I was hungry. So who wants to have a go at this? Uh, Harim, you wanna try?
No.
Okay, it's okay. Fawad, I'm unmuting you. Yeah, you want to
Okay.
do this?
Which one?
A, question 1, page 127. This one. Manal, you want to?
Yes.
Okay. Exercise A, question 1.
When I got home from school.
Yes, good job. When I got home from school. Over here, when is a adverb of time. I mean, it's telling you the time at which you did something. Okay. So, when I got home from school, time, when I got home from school, I was hungry. Oh, Fawad, I'm so sorry. I thought that you muted yourself. Okay, you can do the second question. Okay. Where are you? Okay. Fawad, you want to do the second question? A for 2. Let me unmute you.
Teacher, I have problem.
Fawad, you're unmuted. You want to do question 2? No? Okay. So I think Fatma wants to have a try. So where is she? Yes, Fatma, you want to do?
Problem in exercise A.
You have?
I have a problem in exercise A. I did not understand this.
Okay. So what was your problem? You didn't understand? What you don't
Yes.
understand? You don't understand what subordinate clauses are?
I understand, but I do not understand what we have to do here.
Okay. You read the sentence, okay, and then after you read the sentence, you can see this comma. This comma is separating the two clauses that make up the sentence. From these two clauses, you have to figure out which one is the subordinate clause. So for question 1, we learned that the first clause of the sentence was the subordinate clause. This is a complete clause. So for question number 2, I want you to figure out which one of these two clauses is the incomplete clause, subordinate clause. Which one is the subordinate clause? After I had eaten my breakfast or I cleaned my teeth?
And
After I had eaten my breakfast? Yeah, that's right. If that's what you said, that's right.
so
What? Sorry?
after I've eaten my breakfast, so I've cleaned my teeth. So I cleaned my teeth.
Oh, no. We don't have to add a connector here, okay? After is an adverb. After is an adverb, so that's why we know this is a subordinate clause. So this is a subordinate clause. They said underline the subordinate clauses. So we first identify where the adverb of the sentence is, okay? Adverb adds to the verb. So this is our verb. So this is the adverb of time. It's telling us the time at which this verb was done. So this is the adverb of time. After we identify the adverb, we know that the adverb, which the word that is starting this phrase is an adverb. So we know this is a subordinate clause. So the question says, copy these sentences and underline the subordinate clauses. So this is a subordinate clause. We underlined it. Did you
We
get
will
that?
underline this.
Yeah, we'll underline.
Okay.
You got that, Fatma?
Yes, I got that.
Okay. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's move on to exercise B. Copy these sentences, adding a comma in the correct place. So over here, they have joined both there are two clauses in the sentence. They have joined them all into one big one. We have to separate those two clauses back to their former state. So who wants to give this a go? Should I choose randomly? Okay, Ahmad Ibrar.
Before I left the house, after coma, I picked up my bag, my school bag.
Yes, that's correct. Like over here, I didn't mention this before, but when we are the subject, when I am talking, I will be the subject. I am the person who is gonna do the action for the sentence. So I will be the subject. So before I left the house, I picked up my school bag. Remember how I said that when we join two sentences, we do not repeat the subject. But for when I am the subject, when we use first person, this rule is, there's an exception to the rule, okay? We will mention I again. So over here, it was like a hint. I was repeated over here. So we know that we have to place a comma over here because this must be the starting of a new clause. That's why they mentioned I again. Before is again an adverb of time. Left is the verb. Before is adding to the verb. It is telling the time when I left. So before I left the house, I picked up my school bag. So this is the comma. That's good job. Okay. Now question number 2. Who wants to do this? Hawaii P30. Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. Do you want to do this question?
Yes.
Okay. So separate the two clauses in this sentence.
While it is in its burrow, there will be a comma and then the meerkat is safe.
Good job. Okay. Good job. Over here, while it, this is a pronoun. This is not a noun. Noun is the meerkat. Like you can say the noun is the name of a person. Pronoun is the pronoun is like he or she. If there's a girl named Maryam, if we say Maryam picked up her school bag, I said Maryam picked up her school bag. Like I'll write it down for you. Okay. So Maryam picked up her school bag. I can also say Maryam picked up Maryam's school bag, but that would be a repetition. Okay, I'm gonna use, and then I'll be using Maryam 2 times. So instead of using it 2 times, making the sentence longer for no reason, I can just say Maryam picked up her school bag. So her is a pronoun. I'm not repeating the noun. I'm just using like a short form for it. Maryam picked up her school bag. So over here, they used it for meerkat. For animals and things, we use it because they're not male or female. Okay, while it is in its burrow, so we got the pronoun. So now we will look out for the noun. The meerkat is the noun. So we saw that the noun was mentioned here. So if the noun is mentioned here, that means this. If the noun is mentioned here, that means this is the starting of a clause. So that's why we will put a comma before this clause. Okay, so these are the 2 clauses. Good job. Okay, so should we do exercise C together? Okay, I'm unmuting all of you guys. You want to have a question?
Teacher, the exercise B. Teacher, exercise B. What just want to do?
Okay, just a second. Let me mute all of them so that I can hear you clearly, Fatma. Yes, Fatma?
I'm saying exercise B, that
Yeah.
it was 2, so how, what it mean 2? I did not understand 2.
Oh, okay. Let me explain. Look, it says copy these sentences, adding a comma in the correct place. They mean to say that look, this is marked, so I am just going to write it down over here. Okay. Let me use this. Before I left the house, I picked up my school bag. Okay, so the question was, this was the question, okay? No punctuation. So we had to add the comma in the right place, okay? So now we add a comma in between 2 clauses, remember? So over here, we have to identify the 2 clauses, 2 different clauses. So before I left the house, this is a adverb, okay? Before I left the house, this is our subject. I am the subject. You know what the subject is? Subject is a person who does the verb, who does the action, who does something. So I am the subject. I got repeated here. A subject only gets repeated in the beginning of a clause. So because I saw that I got repeated over here, I knew this was the starting of a new clause. So between the clauses, we always have a comma. So I know this is the place where I will put my comma, and that's what they're saying in the question. Add a comma in the correct place. Did you get it, Fatma?
Yes.
Okay. Saliha,
Yes, teacher.
you have a question?
Yes, teacher. What is the meaning of subordinate?
Okay.
Teacher, mute me.
Who? Mute who?
To me.
Fatma?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Wait. Okay, you're muted. Mute. Okay, Saliha. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, just for you to understand. See this. Just see this. Just give me a second. Okay.
Subordinate. Teacher, I just need to ask you the meaning of subordinate.
Yeah, I know. I just have it written somewhere. So yeah. Okay. A clause that doesn't make sense on its own is called an incomplete clause or subordinate clause. Like a subordinate clause is an incomplete clause. It is not complete and it does not have complete meaning, and it cannot convey its meaning on its own. It always needs a complete clause after it. So this is a subordinate clause. This is a definition. A clause that doesn't make sense on its own is called a subordinate clause. An easier word for it is incomplete clause. Saliha, you got that?
Yup.
Okay.
And thanks for it.
You're welcome. Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Okay, so if you have any more questions, just write in the chat box. Okay, so no questions? I'm unmuting all of you guys. Any questions?
No. Teacher, I did all my work.
Teacher,
Yeah.
Teacher, I did all
we have to do this in the copy.
my
We are putting a comma
No,
at
this
the
is
right
just a
place.
revision,
Do
okay?
we have to do this in the copy?
No, this is just a revision. This is just a revision, okay? You're gonna do in the copy what your teacher tells you to do, okay? And so, yeah, I think this is the end of the meeting, okay? So,
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, teacher.
Allah